The all-British heavyweight fights are finally getting on track. Tyson Fury, who had decided to retire, well, he decided to not. He posted a public call-out on Twitter to Anthony Joshua. In the video, he's been standing tall with 3 title belts around him. He called out Anthony Joshua for a fight in December, and it seems like the response finally came in. Let's dive into it. First, talks between both fighters were halted. Tyson has been seeking a fight for a while now, which we'll get into. His supposed fight for December fell through, so he immediately took up Joshua on Twitter. Both Fury and Joshua had been discussing and negotiating this match for a while, but boxing promoter Frank Warren explained that all communications were on hold due to the Queen's passing. He reported that it didn't seem appropriate to do so, and that they'd rather prefer to respect the royal family's grief. They plan to resume the talks a week later. Well, that week has passed, and it seems as though they both will be crossing paths in Saudi Arabia for an epic showdown. Before Fury uploaded the video, he tweeted to Joshua that they both should go at it. The 32-year-old replied that he doesn't do the whole public discussion for clout. He'd rather have the process done through his team, and that was the last we heard of it until now. Following that, Anthony Joshua's team confirmed the fight. It seems like their plans are finally coming together. Fury, the WBC champion, had offered Joshua a bag split of 60-40 and a fight date ready to go. He then said that Joshua doesn't have any excuses to deny the fight, as he isn't being lowballed. He'd get 40%, take it or leave it. Joshua's promoter, HEARN, said that the terms were all good as long as the offer was serious, because this fight was originally meant for someone else. HEARN and his team took to Twitter to confirm that their client accepts all the terms presented by Fury for a match of a lifetime. The pair was supposed to go head-to-head last year, but unfortunately, an arbitrator in the US ruled that under Fury's contract, he needed to fight his third fight with Deontay Wilder, so this match is long awaited. Next, let's talk about Anthony's previous loss. Anthony Joshua has been a world-class boxer and has held many titles like the WBA, IBF, WBO, and IBO between 2016 and 2021, so he's pretty tough in the ring, but doesn't seem to be at his prime recently. Out of his last 5 fights, the Brit lost in 3 of them, twice to the same person. That can't have felt good. His most recent fight was a rematch with Alexander Usyk. It was 12 rounds, during which Joshua maintained it in his favor before the Ukrainian tipped the scale in his. Usyk won by a split decision and successfully defended his WBO, WBA, and IBF titles. This left Joshua devastated, but completely pissed too. He picked up 2 of the championship belts, threw them out of the ring, and then stormed off for a while. In his 2-minute speech, he explained his emotional outburst, saying that he was stealing the titles from Usyk. That isn't how this works though. Moving on, there is a match love triangle going on here. The mutual foe between both Fury and Joshua is Alexander Usyk. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Fury had announced his retirement after his fight with Wilder, which he won, but it didn't last long, as he instructed his team to inform the WBC that he was still willing to fight. He refuses to end his career even if it's on a high note. He came back to fight his rival Usyk, and Usyk mocked Fury, saying that his retirement announcement was just a way to come back to more money. In his opinion, Fury already wanted to fight him and loves the spotlight way too much to give it up. Fury and Usyk both have been going back and forth for a while, and until their fight does happen, they'll probably continue to do so. The Ukrainian champion responded to Fury by calling him a middleweight and accusing him of running and hiding. He said that as much as Fury would want his words to cut deep, they don't. Next, the beef between Usyk and Fury. You see, Usyk and Fury were set for a fight in December of this year in Saudi Arabia. All promoters wanted it in that time frame because it would be just before the World Cup and attract a bigger audience. But Usyk postponed the fight to next year. The Ukrainian was fighting on the front line for this country against Russia. After a tough year, he returned just to fight some more, but this time in a controlled environment against Anthony Joshua, and after a huge 12-round match, he came out victorious. The next fighter on his hit list was Fury to get a hold of the WBC belt. Fury had responded to Usyk's desire, saying that he, the Gypsy King, has the belt tight in his grasp, and to get it, he'd have to go through his behemoth figure. But Usyk suffered some injuries during his fight with Joshua and wants time to recover physically. Other than that, he wants to spend time and stick with his family back in Ukraine. He hasn't had time with them due to him fighting and being stuck in training camps, but he wants Fury next year. For him, the priorities have shifted, even though Fury doesn't believe his excuses. After that, it looks like Joshua is the replacement. Well, it's technically true. Fury and the furious promoters wanted to hold the fight at a particular time. Delaying means losing money for a while. Now Fury has a bunch of rivals and he holds major titles. This brings in many fighters willing to fight on just short time's notice. The Titan had told Mahmoud Char, his old rival, that if the deal falls through with Usyk, he's available to get in the ring with him. Other names like Derek Chisora, Thor Bjornsson, and Char were available bantering with the prominent fighter, but in the end, Fury wanted Anthony Joshua. He basically swapped opponents and everything else is the same. Moving on, Joshua was told to avoid this fighter. Joshua was aiming to win his titles back against Usyk, but he failed twice. Joshua was undefeated in his first 22 professional bouts, so these losses must feel devastating for him. It was expected that Joshua would challenge fellow heavyweight fighter Deontay Wilder, who lost to Fury. Robert Garcia didn't agree with this decision. In his opinion, the English fighter should take a few warm-up fights to gain his confidence back and get out of his slump before heading straight for a dangerous fighter like Wilder. He does agree that it'd be a great fight because both of them have great footwork, movement, and jabs, and hit pretty hard. But Wilder has this killer one-punch power that would end the entire game pretty quickly. Going for a tough match right after big losses isn't the best idea. Next, Alexander Usyk extends a helping hand to Joshua. Now that Joshua is most probably fighting Fury, Usyk is stepping back, just not in the ring. Ukraine's fighter has demolished Joshua back-to-back in two high-profile title fights. But now that he's not the one fighting, his promoters told Sky Sports that he's willing to come to the UK and train and advise Joshua. Usyk is the same guy who won all of Joshua's titles, and maintaining them in the rematch triggered by Joshua just last month. It seems that this way, they'll both benefit. Joshua will improve and learn new tricks and tips, and Usyk will study Fury more as he plans on taking him down next year. Last up, what do others think of this upcoming bout? Since Joshua's been in a boxing slump recently, he's lost his titles and major fights. A big win would mean a lot to him, especially ones with which he can get titles. The former British boxer Spencer Oliver thinks that the 32-year-old has a wonderful opportunity to get back at the top of the heavyweight division if this bout does happen by the end of the year. Oliver is a friend of Joshua and extended his support following his second loss to Usyk. He said to Joshua in a video that you outboxed the best bleep boxer in the world for rounds and beat him at his own game. Critics disagreed, saying that while Joshua did much better than in his second fight, Usyk controlled most of the match. Another former boxer, Johnny Nelson, agrees that this match is a great opportunity for Joshua. Speaking of his views on the upcoming match, he said that Tyson Fury might be the only motivation Joshua has following such great losses. Fury gets Joshua to commit and train until their fight. He doesn't want to be an also-ran. He's ready to give it his all in the ring. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think? Will this fight happen? If it does, who do you support? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos. See you at the next one.